find out that there's mold on the bottom, you're like, ooh, you like brush off the mold off the label, you're like, oh, there's some moss on the label? Well, what does this say? Oh, the lettering's kind of faded away. Hang on. You know, like, I think this says 1667. Could be an 8. Win-win either way.
So, for this blind taste test segment, we kind of took my approach to all of them and just kind of grabbed what's pretty. I have no idea what any of it is. He doesn't know what any of it is. I grabbed this one because it is violently American, down to the name. So let's pour this and see what he thinks. Woo! This one is bubbly. Very bubbly. Oh yeah. We're gonna put this down here. Initial thought is it creates a good head once. Ready?
Okay. Ooh!
This is the good head once.
That's not a good head.
It's like half and half.
No. This is a good head. That is like being robbed of a pint.
This one's really frothy.
No, let me tell you. If I walked into a pub and they served me a pint and it had a head like that, I would give it back to them.
Anyway, and this has gone down a little bit.
Yeah, I would give it back to them.
When I popped the thing, a bunch just came out.
You didn't slap the top, did you?
No. Here.
Oh, that's something. Oh yeah, that's something.
It's pretty light, but really tart.
IPA?
No.
You sure?
Yeah. That's your guess?
That was my guess, yeah.
Alright.
It's like maybe a barley or a wheat combination IPA with really just like it's mild, but mild isn't a bad thing all the time. For example, like mild habanero. That's not a bad thing. That can be a good flavor, you know? And in this case, it's a good flavor. It kind of tastes like an IPA, just
really frothy.
plain Jane IPA, good. There's no like backlash. It's just a smooth IPA.
Funny thing is that the can is violently American.
And I would completely believe that with this beer. And the reason why is because if you attempted to pitch a true, full-force, full-hearted IPA towards an American, they would sit there and tell you how Busch Light is the most American beer ever known to man.
You ready to see this can?
Yeah.
So it's called Eagle Air Guitar. It's a double India Pale Ale.
I can see that. Okay. That's America. Is there an AR? No.
It's just violently American.
I don't know if I would call that violently American. You guys...
It's got an eagle with a bandana doing an air guitar in front of like a concert red, white, and blue type background.
Alright, so you guys have some work to do. Alright, so you're missing the AR-15 in there, obviously. I think the guitar that should be there should not be an air guitar. It should be an AR-15 guitar. You know, we obviously, this is just smoke. We need some fireworks.
We need a few airplanes.
We need a burger with an obnoxious amount of bacon and mayonnaise. And
anyway, enough on their
you
can
guys
design.
have some work to do, is all we're saying.
Well, their eagle really does fit the name.
Eagle Air Guitar.
Yeah. Now there is still a good bit left in this can.
And there is a lot of air in this beer. I will say that. Now that's a good head. Okay, it's getting less of a good head.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real frothy. Highly aerated.
Air rated. Rated for the air.
So, but they are out of Williamsburg, Virginia. For those of you curious.
What's the brewer? Or who's the brewer, rather?
Alewerks, but it's not spelled like you would think. It's Alewerks. Alewerks.
Does it now? Alewerks Brewing Company.
Yup. Pretty little logo, too. It's a bit big.
That is a pretty large logo for the can.
I wonder if they have, like, issues with people stealing their images.
It does look like a moonshine logo. Anyways, yeah, actually, first one, good pick goes to Jessica. We, as previously stated, back to the main theme of this video. The next, 12 beer videos?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 or 13 or so.
We took my approach, which is it pretty? Yes or no?
Legitimately didn't even read the can. Just, oh, that looks pretty. Oh, that looks pretty. And you're going to see a bit of what I think is pretty and what she thinks is pretty. This one is what she thinks is pretty, and we'll give a little...
Actually, I grabbed it because it was pretty violently American looking, and I was like, yeah, that's a good trend. I like that. Also, they gave the eagle human feet.
Duh. I mean...
Then again, they gave it fingers, so...
I mean, duh.
Alright. But yeah, no, we literally just grabbed things. Is it pretty?
So what would you give this? On a 1 to 10 scale?
4.
4? I'd probably give it like a 7, 8.
It's tolerable.
It's tolerable. I'd say it's pretty good. It's pretty good for an afternoon of barbecuing. So, overall beer review, 7.75. Wait.
Out of 20?
Out of 10?
Okay, out of 10?
Yeah, because divided by 2.
Okay, out of 10.
Out of 10. So this is 1 point to Jessica. We will see how many more points Jessica gets for this versus how many I get. And then I guess at the very end of this, we'll just cock things up to is looking at things, judging a book by its cover, basically, is this a good motive of choosing a good product?
So, to expand on that even more is like, we're not even reading the flavors.
No. We're legit looking at the label saying, is the label pretty? Yes or no?
This is like when you're a kid and you walk into the library and you're like, that book is beautiful. I'm gonna read it.
Come to find out that you can barely read sentences more than 5 words, and this thing is written like a dictionary. We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all done it. And you sit there, you're like, no, I can read it. I can read it. Your mom's like, you're not going to like that book at all. I know. Because she can see the word thesaurus on the cover. You know? And you're like, yeah, thesaurus. That's like dinosaurs. You open it up, you're like, there are no pictures inside. This is the face of disappointment.
Mom was right, but I'm gonna read the whole thing
Mom
anyway.
was right, but I'm gonna read the whole thing anyways. You know, like 4
Prove
days
her wrong.
later, 4 days later, Mom's sitting there, she's like, so what's your book about? You're like, dinosaurs?
Words.
It's, yeah.
Synonyms.
I had an event like that. Let us know in the comment section down below what your story is on that particular event, where you grabbed the book and your parents wanted you to read something, or your teacher wanted you to read something or something like that, and you grabbed this book and they sat there and looked at you and tried to steer you in the right direction, but you were too hard-headed to listen, and then you were stuck with a book that was way over your head.
And where that left you in the end.
Yeah, I just want to hear you guys' stories about it. So here's my story about it. So, Dad had this thing for books that came from a certain category. So in the 90s, there was this thing where they didn't have like online dictionaries and online thesauruses and everything like that. So you could get like these TV deals, like order now for 5 payments of $5.99 for whatever, anything. And what was the big thing in the 90s was these dictionary thesaurus sets. And sometimes they were like the dictionaries, thesauruses, almanacs sometimes for where you might find collegiate papers based on this one specific word that you're attempting to find. It's basically like a home library. And Dad had 2 sets. But one was not about... It wasn't a dictionary set. It was like a literature set.
Was it like world books?
No, it was not. So like one of them, legit, there were 2, they were much larger than all of the other ones. They were like dictionaries. It was like A to N and then N to Z. And there were 2 different books and they were larger than all of them. They're all red, they all matched. And then the rest of them were legit just thesauruses.
I know that series.
And synonyms and all this stuff.
They're really common in military libraries.
So it wasn't a series, all right? But then there was another set that he had that was green and gold. It was primarily like army green, like olive green, maybe a little bit darker, doesn't matter. But it had gold accents, and I never read any of the words or anything like that. I was also a terrible reader, and so my mom was always pushing me. She was always pushing me to like go read more. You've been watching TV for too long. You've been outside for too long. You've been doing chores. Something. You haven't read a book in a while. Blah 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 blah. Just jabber. You need to go read a book. Is always what she's going on about. But my be all and end all, whenever we went to the library, was always, well, I don't have a good book to read. Well, I don't know what's in my reading level because I don't know what my reading level is. Well, I don't know. And I just pled ignorance. One day she came to me and she goes, I don't care what you find. If it's a dictionary, then it's a dictionary. Go read something. Go grab a book and read something. Now, for those of you who do not know, my father and my mother are both medical professionals, and my father loves physics and mathematics. And I'm not talking like algebra, I'm not talking, no, fucking differential equations. There are some of these books that can break your bones. So I'm looking at this green set, and I'm like, which of these books, because they're the smallest, they're the only ones that are less than an inch in the spine, which of these books is the smallest and shortest? And I grabbed the smallest, the thinnest one, and I grabbed it, and I picked it up, and I opened it. This is in like the 5th grade, mind you. I opened it up, and the first sentence, the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. And my mom's like, what's it about? And I'm like, well, there's this guy. His name was Benjamin Franklin. And he wrote an autobiography. And she's like, What's an autobiography? But this was before the time of which I could go on to the family computer because I did not have access because my dad was the administrator and he locked out the computer because I was playing games. I was playing browser-based games and I got a virus on the computer. I clicked on too many things. I was trying to find the hot single moms in my area. I didn't find them. I got locked out of the computer in the 5th grade. So anyways, I had to find out what the word autobiography meant. My mom's like, why don't you grab the dictionary? But this dictionary was made in the 1990s, and the year is currently like 2009. So I'm sitting there scrolling through. Mind you, these dictionaries are not like dictionary.com. You can't just plug a word into these dictionaries. You have to plug in, like, what does this prefix mean in comparison to what this core means for the word. And I was not heavy on literacy. I could barely read. Alright, we're talking like I could barely read a shopping list. The standard was not very high. So I was looking for the word autobiography, did not find it. My mom's like, it's when somebody writes a book about themselves. And I'm like, what a lame guy who writes a book about himself. And that's where that story ends. I never finished the book. Never got past the first page. Because it was like, every 2 words, I'm like, ah, shit. No, it's not in this dictionary. Gotta pull out the second one. No, it's not that one. Hang on. This one ends at N-E. No, it's N-E-N. And I was like, Mom, it's not in the dictionary. She's like, why don't you just go grab something that's in your reading level? Because they're long as fuck. I don't have time to read 800 pages of Edgar Allan Poe. I don't understand physics. I'm in the 5th grade. Pre-algebra's hard. Oh, what about you? Finding an alcoholic bottle and you find out that there's mold on the bottle and you're like, ooh, you like brush off the mold off the label, you're like, there's some moss on the label? Well, what does this say? Oh, letterings kind of fade away. Hang on. You know, like, I think this says 1667. Could be an 8. Win-win either way.
Could be a 1, could be a 7.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway.
You love your gloves on, you grab your tweezers. To come full circle though, on the topic of us having reading problems, this was like reading problems once upon a time. We are both fully literate individuals, fully literate adults. We can read, we can write, we understand how thesauruses and dictionaries work, as well as syllabuses. Syllabi? We mostly understand how syllabi work.
Whatever the plural form of syllabus is.
Also, with the internet, is anyone really literate? Anyway,
what was your story about books above your reading level that your parents kind of tried to steer you away from?
Parents, guardians, teachers, anyone. Anyone who sat there and looked at you and said, you need to read a different book, and you went and grabbed something that was pretty, and it was way over the top. So, that was long and drawn out and in need of desperate editing. But, we'll see you guys next time.